Hi, Gibaud, Gibaud.com, and today I'm going to present you two lens adapter to have my M42 mount lens on my Olympus Micro Four Third and on my Fujifilm, and this is by K&F Concept. Let's start. So I didn't have a vintage lens with me right now, so I asked Claudia Reyes if she could lend me her Zenith with the 12 XP. And what I wanted is the lens is an M42 lens. This is an Helios 44M6 58mm f2. And she asked, and what are you going to do with my lens? Really worried. So I said, no, don't worry, I'm going to test some lens adapters on the Fujifilm and on the Olympus, so no problem. Why, do you want something back in exchange or something? And she said, well, I'm trying some barber things. I would like to make some tuning on your hair and beard. So, but what are you going to do? I'm going to get rid of this yellowish color you get in summer because of the sun. And she did get rid of it. So it's not yellow anymore. That worked. Well, I'm really happy with it. So let's carry on. About a year ago, I made a video about vintage lenses on digital cameras. I'll leave you a link here if you want to have a look at it, but this video is not to speak if it's good or bad to use vintage lenses, so to show you how it works, the system, okay, the ring. Okay, by the way, this ring is on M42 mount, screw mounts. I've got one for Micro Four Third Olympus and Panasonic, and one for Fujifilm. So it comes in a box like this, really nice, and it's well protected. Okay, and on each ring it's clearly identified what it is for. As you can see, M42 to Micro Four Third and F42 to FX. The size may be different because it depends on the camera, it depends on the lens type, because actually it depends on the distance between the sensor and the back of the back lens of your lens. The distance needs to be the perfect one, so the ring may be slightly different, okay, a bit thicker or thinner. Okay, but this is a vintage lens, but actually rings, it can be vintage lenses on today's camera, but also it can be on modern lenses on modern cameras, but different brands. So maybe you want to have your Canon lenses on a Fujifilm camera or any. Okay, so I explain you the system. I'll show you with these two rings on my cameras and with the vintage lens, but they have more rings, so I'll leave you in description of this video a list of rings that I actually have on K&F Concept if you would be interested. Okay, I'm testing with this Helios lens. By the way, Claudia Reyes will make a review of her Zenith camera, so you can subscribe to her YouTube channel and then you'll see it when it comes out. Okay, so what could I say? I mean, the quality is brilliant. It's fully metal, it's not light, it's not plastic at all. This is really steady, it's really good. So if I mount my lens here, as you can see, it doesn't move. It's perfect. It's really properly adjusted, because I've seen some cheap ring and it's not properly adjusted. So when you go on digital, this is a big problem, because really a fraction of millimeter will make your picture not in focus or partly in focus, and the rest is on the corner is no good, whatever. So it's really important that it's really perfectly adjusted, and these rings are magnificent. It's really perfect. Okay, then after, when it's mounted, this is a bit bigger. Okay, you mount it on your camera. I'll show you after. Okay, so you can actually use rings on reflex cameras, but it's a bit harder to focus because the focusing is made on the mirror. You don't have the option to have like focus peaking as on mirrorless. It doesn't mean it cannot be done, but it's really wonderful when you're actually using mirrorless. So what do you need to do to be able to use your mirrorless camera with this? Well, it depends on the camera. So I'm going to show you what I do with my Olympus and with my Fujifilm, but obviously you can do that with other cameras. It depends. You will have to read your manual, but the way it works is really similar. So in the case of the Olympus, first I'll do it first. You don't have to tell the camera you're using a vintage lens or you're not using lenses. Take into account that for your camera there is no lens mounted because there is no electronic here, nothing. So for the camera, it's like if it was just a cap. Okay, in the case of the Olympus, you don't have to tell anything to the camera. you need to configure the picking. Here's my Olympus lens, and actually when I go in manual, I've got focus picking, which is some small dots that appear and tell me where it is in focus. But this is for when you have a macro four thirds lens. When you don't have a macro four thirds lens and you have an adapter, lens adapter, it's different. You need to activate in a different way and activate a function button to be able to see this picking. So in this case, I go to menu D, okay? Menu D, even if the reflection you don't see it, doesn't really matter. You press on it, and then I'm going to assign my function on this back button on FN1, okay? So here in the list, there's a list, I choose picking, okay? It means that when I will press the button here, it will show me where the focus is being made. So if I press and I turn my focus ring, it will tell me exactly where it's focused, okay? So it's easy. Second, you can actually activate a magnifying glass on one of the function button you want. So when you press it, then it will magnify and you know exactly precisely where it is being in focus, where it's in focus, okay? And then you must go to the picking option, check your manual, and you can pick the color you want. The intensity, if it's low or really high, and also the color. Right now I've got it in red, but you could have white, yellow, blue, whatever color you want, okay? So that's it for the Olympus. In the case of the Fujifilm, it's a bit different. First, you have to, all Fujifilm X work the same way, so it's easy to configure. You go to menu, and then maybe it won't be in the same place on your camera, depends what you have. This is on XE1, okay? But I have to go to menu 3 in my case. At the bottom, there is an option that says shoot without lens. I must activate it. So the camera knows there is a lens on there, although it cannot see it, okay? So it allows me to shoot without a lens. So I can put a lens, then it will shoot. Otherwise, you press the trigger, it doesn't work. And then on the bottom, on the menu just over it, it says mount adapter setting. Okay. So if I've got a mount adapter, which is what I'm going to put, I have to tell what focal length I have. So lens 1, 21mm, lens 2, 24, all this. I cannot edit that, but if you go to lens 5 and 6, yes, I can edit. So I go to lens 5, and in here it says focal length setting. I will manually put in 58mm, which is the focal length of this lens. And that's it for that part. Then you must go to picking, which is manual focusing assistance, and then you must activate the focus picking. In mine, it only gives me white colors, white dots. I don't have any other option, but for later Fujifilm models, you also have red, yellow, and other colors. Okay, so if you do black and white photography with this camera, it's a bit tricky to get in focus. You don't really see the white dots. It's not always easy. If you work in JPEG, obviously if you work in RAW, your viewfinder and screen is in color, but if you work in JPEG, black and white JPEG, then you don't see as good, okay? But maybe you have a later camera, so it's easy, okay? And then you can also assign to one of the button, a function button, depends on the camera you have, the fact to have a magnifying situation. Also, you press and then it's like a magnifying glass, and you see precisely an area, so you can focus precisely there. Okay, so that's it. It's really easy. So now I'm going to show you how it looks once it's mounted and tell you the result, my impression. Okay, so here it is mounted on the Fujifilm. It works perfect. As you can see, there's no it's really properly adjusted, doesn't move. It's really fine, really perfect, which is really important for that. So I could use it without problem with the focus picking, although my focus picking is white only. Would be good if it was color to see it better. So if you have a higher model camera, it's better, okay, for that. And I tried at f2, which is a lot of light. The speed, maximum speed, is only 1/4000th of a second, so it was really almost almost burnt. Okay, so but I did try, had no problem, could really focus really close. And then I went to each aperture to check if there was some vignetting, and I could not see anything, not on f2, nothing. Okay, but take into account that this lens is a 58mm mounted on an APS-C camera, so it means you have to multiply by 1.5 to have the equivalent of full frame, so it's about 80mm. So it's not actually using the full size of the lens, the full possibility. So it means that on the border, it's logical I don't have that much, I don't have vignetting at all. On full frame maybe it would be different. Anyway, check the video I told you before because there I explained the problem with wide angle lenses on mirrorless cameras anyway, okay? So but I didn't have the problem, so I could actually use a really nice the camera. Sometimes it's hard to focus to infinity when you use rings, and I don't have this problem with this camera and this ring. I didn't go to infinity, it was about 100 meters away, but I could focus perfectly without any problem. So yes, I could use this lens with this adapter on my Fujifilm camera. So here on my Olympus, as you can see, it doesn't move either, it's perfectly adjusted. I made the same test with vignetting, close focusing, infinity, all this. Same as on the Fujifilm, perfect. The only thing is at f2 I didn't have the overexposure problem because this one goes up to 1/8000th of a second. So as you can see, it works perfectly. I've tried only these two lens adapter by K&F Concept, but I've got a friend who's got many of them because he has many vintage lenses, so he uses them on Olympus and also on Canon R. So perfect. As you can see, the results are here. Perfect. I've got nothing to complain. Really easy with focus picking. It makes it really easy to use this lens. So conclusion, well, I think I was surprised. The quality is brilliant. I mean, I don't even know what to say about K&F Concept anymore because the quality is always really good. So it looks like I'm working for them when I'm not actually working for them. They send me the rings for free, okay, but it's brilliant, honestly. And also because I've got a friend who's got many of their adapter and is really happy about them. So I must say, whether you use vintage lens or not, you want to change from one brand to another, I can only recommend this brand because honestly the quality is stunning, really good. So maybe you don't want to use vintage lenses because you don't have, so you could adapt from Canon to Sony, for example, okay, or you have vintage lenses and you want to use them, or you want to buy some to experiment because you can find cheap lenses, and sometimes it's better to have an old lens used on a mirrorless camera or reflex camera. I prefer a mirrorless camera than to buy today's lens that for same price would be very often less quality. So obviously with vintage you will work only with manual focus. With today's lens, cheap ones, sometimes you have autofocus one, and sometimes you just have manual lens to manual focusing also. So it depends, but maybe you're interested to experiment with affordable lenses. Obviously it works better with over 50mm lenses than with wide angle. I explained it in the video I told you before, but it's experimenting for an affordable price, okay? So yes, I can only recommend this product. Honestly, I'm going to test new things, new lenses on my Fujifilm and Olympus thanks to that. I don't know yet what color Claudia Reyes will paint my beard when I will do a review of this lens, okay? Well, I'm joking, okay? But I will, and I will probably try other lenses because many people have been asking for it, okay? So thank you very much, K&F Concept, for sending me the rings. Thank you to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The small button on here and also a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. I also leave you links of my gear on Amazon in description, links to all the K&F Concept product I've reviewed also in description, and a link to other part of my YouTube channel, and a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.